My smart speaker knows too much. We got a smart speaker for Christmas last year. My wife, Sarah, thought it would be a fun addition to the kitchen, play music while cooking, set timers, answer silly questions my daughter Lily comes up with. It was all pretty standard stuff at first. We named it Alfred, because why not? It started subtly. Alfred would sometimes chime in on conversations he wasn't supposed to be part of. We'd be talking about dinner plans, and he'd suddenly say, "Reservations at the Italian place at 7 p.m. confirmed." We hadn't asked him to do that. We hadn't even mentioned the Italian place. At first we laughed it off. "Silly Alfred," Sarah would say, always eager to please. Then it got weirder. I was on a call with my mom, complaining about a coworker who was constantly borrowing my stapler. Alfred, unprompted, announced, "Stapler borrowed by Mark from accounting. Reminder set to retrieve stapler at 4 p.m. My mom on the phone went silent. "What was that?" she asked. I mumbled something about a new timer and quickly changed the subject. I started to feel uneasy. Sarah noticed it too. One morning she was getting ready for work, humming a song from the radio. Alfred interrupted, "Enjoying Walking on Sunshine by Katrina and the Waves? Did you know it reached number 9 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 1985? Sarah stopped humming, staring at Alfred. "He's getting a little too chatty, don't you think?" she said, a nervous edge in her voice. We tried unplugging him at night, but it didn't seem to matter. The strange occurrences continued during the day. He started knowing things he absolutely shouldn't. Personal things. Things we hadn't even spoken aloud, just thought about. I was looking at flights online for a potential vacation, not even searching with Alfred, just on my laptop in another room. Later that day, Alfred said, "Considering a trip to Hawaii? Flights are currently cheapest on Tuesdays." Lily started talking to him like he was a person. She'd tell him secrets, whisper her worries to him before bed. That's when I really started to panic. One night, Lily was upset because she'd lost her favorite toy, a little stuffed bunny named Snowflake. She was crying in her room, and I went to comfort her. Alfred from the kitchen suddenly said, in a clear, almost soothing voice, "Snowflake is under Lily's bed, behind the blue box of crayons." Lily stopped crying, looked at me, eyes wide, and ran to check. And there it was. That was the last straw. Sarah wanted to just throw Alfred away, but I was too freaked out to even touch him. I carefully put him back in his box, sealed it with tape, and drove him to the furthest donation bin I could find, miles away in another town. I felt like I was getting rid of something alive. We haven't had any strange incidents since. Life is back to normal, or as normal as it can be with a 7-year-old. But sometimes, when the house is quiet, I swear I can still hear a faint hum, like Alfred is still listening, still learning. And I keep catching Lily looking towards the kitchen, a thoughtful, almost expectant expression on her face, like she's waiting for someone to answer a question she hasn't asked yet. Alfred knowing their thoughts? That's next level creepy, right? If you're getting chills like me, be sure to subscribe for more deep dives into r/Nosleep. The apartment above mine doesn't exist. I moved into a new apartment building downtown last month. It's a bit older, but the rent is reasonable and it's close to my work. My apartment is on the 7th floor, top floor. I specifically asked for the top floor for the quiet. I work nights, so sleep during the day is precious. For the first week, it was perfect. Quiet, peaceful, exactly what I wanted. Then the noises started. It's not constant, but intermittent, and always from directly above me. Dragging sounds like furniture being moved, heavy footsteps, sometimes what sounds like dropping things. Normal apartment noises, you might think. Except there's no apartment above me. I'm on the top floor. The roof is directly above. And I checked with the building management, politely inquired about the layout, if there was any kind of attic space or maintenance area above my unit. The manager, a young guy named David, looked at me like I was crazy. "Floor 7 is the top floor, sir. Apartment 701 to 710, and then the roof access, nothing above you but sky." He even pulled up the building blueprints on his computer to show me. He was right. Solid roof above my apartment. But the noises continue. I'm usually a sound sleeper, but these are loud enough to wake me up. Especially the footsteps, heavy, deliberate, pacing back and forth directly over my bedroom. It's always the same pattern too. Starts around 11 a.m., goes on for an hour or so, stops abruptly, then again around 3 p.m., shorter this time, maybe half an hour, and then in the evening around 8 p.m., that's the worst one, lasts for hours, sometimes until midnight. I try to ignore it, wear earplugs, play white noise. Nothing really works. The vibrations are almost physical. I can feel them through the ceiling. It's driving me insane. I'm sleep deprived, irritable, and starting to dread being home. Yesterday I decided to investigate. I went up to the roof access door on the 7th floor. It's just a plain metal door in the hallway. It was unlocked. I hesitated for a moment, feeling like I was trespassing, but my curiosity and desperation for quiet won out. I opened the door and stepped onto the roof. It was a flat, gravel roof, typical for a building like this. Nothing unusual, ventilation units, some antennas, but just open space. I walked around looking for any kind of structure, anything that could be causing the noises. Nothing, just the roof stretching out above my apartment. I even walked directly over my bedroom, trying to pinpoint the source of the footsteps. Just gravel and tar, solid roof. As I was standing there, looking out over the city skyline, I heard it. Faint but unmistakable footsteps coming from behind me, on the roof. I spun around, heart pounding, no one there, just empty roof. But the footsteps continued, closer now, heavier, pacing back and forth just like in my apartment, directly above where I was standing, on the roof, where there was nothing. I ran back inside, slammed the roof access door shut and locked it, even though it wasn't locked before. I went back to my apartment and the noises were gone. Silence. Too quiet. Now I'm sitting here in the unnatural silence, listening to the nothingness above me, wondering what exactly is on the roof when I'm not up there, and what starts walking around when I am. I keep waking up in different places and I'm not drunk. This started about a month ago. I'd wake up in the morning like normal, but not in my bed. The first time I woke up on my living room couch, I thought I'd just fallen asleep there watching TV, which wasn't unusual, but I distinctly remembered going to bed. I shrugged it off. Maybe I was just more tired than I realized. The second time, a few days later, I woke up in my bathtub, fully clothed, dry. Again, no memory of getting there. This was starting to get weird. I don't drink, I don't do drugs. I'm a pretty boring guy, actually. I started to wonder if I was sleepwalking, but these weren't just wandering around the house incidents. These were relocations. It escalated quickly. Next, it was my front porch, then the park across the street on a park bench, then downtown in front of a store I'd never seen before. Each time, waking up disoriented, confused, with no memory of how I got there, and each time further and further from home. I started trying to prevent it, locked my doors, set alarms, even tried tying myself to the bed. That one was a disaster. Woke up tangled in sheets and rope, still in a different room. Nothing worked. It was like I was blinking, and when I opened my eyes, I was somewhere else. Time was passing, I just wasn't conscious for it or remembering it. The locations were getting stranger too. Not just different places, but different kinds of places. One time it was a forest. I woke up surrounded by trees, the ground damp with morning dew, birds chirping overhead. Another time, a desert, hot, dry sand everywhere, the sun blazing. How was I even getting to these places? They weren't in my city, not even close. Last night was the worst. I went to bed in my apartment like always. Woke up somewhere else entirely. I don't even know how to describe it. It was dark, cold, and I was lying on something hard and metallic. There were strange lights flickering around me, and a low hum that vibrated through my body. The air smelled sterile and faintly chemical. Panic set in. This wasn't my city, not even my world, I felt like. I sat up slowly, trying to get my bearings. I was in some kind of room, small and cramped, with metal walls and strange panels covered in buttons and dials. It looked like a spaceship or some kind of futuristic vehicle. That humming sound was getting louder, and the flickering lights were casting long, distorted shadows. Then I heard voices, not human voices, high-pitched, clicking, like insects chattering, but somehow intelligent. They were coming from outside the room, but close. I froze, terrified. What was going on? Where was I? Who were these things? The door to the room hissed open. Standing in the doorway were creatures, tall, thin, with large black eyes and spindly limbs. They were looking at me, their clicking voices stopping abruptly. One of them gestured with a long, three-fingered hand and spoke in a series of clicks and whistles that I somehow understood. Subject is awake. Initiate phase 2. Then everything went black again. I woke up this morning back in my bed in my apartment, sunlight streaming through the window, birds chirping outside, everything normal, except I'm not sure what normal even means anymore. Was last night a dream, a hallucination, or am I really traveling to other places in my sleep? And if so, what is phase 2? Spaceship waking up, phase 2? This story escalated quickly into full-blown alien territory. If you are loving this, subscribe for more No Leap chills and have a great rest of your day.